What's going on, fishy friends? Alright, down in the fish room doing some maintenance. Figured I'd shoot a quick video. Take a look at the 55 here from sort of an underside angle. Well, the rummy nose are looking pretty good, as is everybody else. I wanted to address a comment I got on one of the last videos. I forget the exact username that left the comment, and it's one of those users whom you can't reply to for some reason. Never do quite understand why that happens. Anyway, it was a Philip something or other. Philip commented about how it seems like I lose a lot of fish over the past couple of months, and gave me a good suggestion as far as trying not to move them, and I assume his intent there is the least amount of stress is going to lead to the least amount of deaths. I have had a couple of deaths, but I think for the most part everything's been going pretty well in the fish room. I don't want to sound presumptuous, but I assume most people don't have as many tanks as I do. Down here in the fish room alone, we got 14 tanks and, I don't know, anywhere from 50 to 100 fish at any given time, plus my African cichlid set up at my office, bringing me to 15 tanks. I don't think I have all too many deaths at all. Not to sound too cavalier about it or anything, but honestly, my main goal down here is my discus. And in the amount of time I've been keeping discus, which is, geez, probably over a year now, I've not lost one discus yet. So I consider that quite an accomplishment. Of the few fish I lost recently, I had some apistogramma up in this tank a while back, and I know I lost them because I had an end of tank dump with the CO2 and literally gassed those fish to death. Other than that, I feel like the only fish I've really lost lately are neons and cardinals, and those things are just so damn sensitive. They're just very hard to keep alive. I also lost a couple of the German blue rams that had been down there that I got from Ted Judy, but those were specifically down there in a quarantine situation, as are most of my fish after I recently buy them. And for the most part, those are the only fish I lose is just after I buy them within the next, let's say week to month or so after purchasing them. You know, unfortunately, that's sometimes to be expected in the hobby, which is kind of why I chose to quarantine those fish I got from Ted Judy down there, which now, those are in different tanks, the ones that are left, and some of my discus are down there and doing real well. The two rams I have left from those 6 I bought from Ted Judy are over here, and those two are looking great. Just want to add in a few more points there. That's why it's so important to quarantine any new fish and to not put them in tanks with other fish you do care about right away. So whether that fish comes from a breeder, whether it was wild caught, whether it was purchased from a local fish store, you never do quite know what those fish are going to have. Certain fish might be able to survive with certain parasites and things like that for a while, but if you introduce that into your tank with some healthy fish that aren't accustomed to that, it's a surefire way to kill fish quickly. I don't necessarily always practice quarantine procedures, but I do at the very least try to keep any newly purchased fish out of tanks that I care the most about. My 72 bowfront, for example, the only fish I ever put in there have been acclimated in one of my other tanks for a while. This tank, on the other hand, is filthy, as are a lot of my tanks right now. I've honestly been a little lazy over the summer. And while I do keep up with my water changes, I don't necessarily keep up with things like scrubbing the glass, and it's starting to show. I'm getting some algae outbreaks in some of these tanks. But again, back to that comment from Philip. I appreciate the advice, Philip, and it is good advice. Moving fish around and stressing them out can often be the cause of fish deaths, especially if you're moving them into tanks with dissimilar water parameters. But for the most part, most of my tanks have similar parameters. And again, I think for the most part, the stock in my fish room has done pretty well. Losing one here and there is definitely expected in the hobby. And again, since I have so many tanks and so many fish, maybe it seems like a lot that I've lost, but again, 14 tanks, 50 to 100 fish, and I wouldn't say I lose more than maybe 1 or 2 a month at the most, and I think even that's stretching it if you really take a look at the grand scheme of things. So, you know, new fish, unfortunately, once in a while you lose them, and hopefully the ones that you really care about and keep real good care of stick around for a while. And I think that's pretty much the track record I've got going on right now. Anyway, running out of memory here, so I'm going to end this one here, and I'll talk to you guys soon.